on the back of the ticket for the restaurant.
Oh, really?
Come on, guys, get up here.
And so the five below one, those on there.
What? Your face was right in the camera. Just my story, that's all. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Can we sit? I want to sit. It's a red Yeah. It's wrapped.
Can see 10% off your meal.
Touch him.
What is it?
The next one, not your tour. Yep, sorry guys.
Oh, I thought you. I was sitting next to you.
You're gonna shoot your eye out. All right, folks, well, let's start these out. 40% of the inside house shots from A Christmas Story were actually filmed right here in this house. The other 60 were done on a soundstage up in Toronto, Canada. And we will get to that. We're just going to take it back a little bit and discuss the story, the history, and how we got here today. Now, our story begins with a writer by the name of Jean Shepherd. Jean Shepherd published a book called In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash, which is actually the book that A Christmas Story is based off of. It is a collection of short stories that Jean had written loosely based on his own childhood growing up in Hammond, Indiana. And he put them all together to create this book. Now, he also had his own radio show where he would go on and read his stories and kind of elaborate and give some detail. And the director of A Christmas Story, Bob Clark, actually discovered Jean through his radio show. The first time he tuned in, he was reading the story of the leg lamb. Of course, he fell in love, continued to listen, and he was hooked ever since. So from there, he decided he wanted to take these stories and bring them to life on film. Now, when Bob Clark started his film career, he was making a lot of B-rated horror films, the likes of Black Christmas and Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. So that's what he was up to in the early 1970s. Now, he made his breakthrough when he directed the movie Porky's for MGM. That's right, that's the same guy, Christmas Story Porky, same director. So he ended up making his break with that, and he ended up making a really popular movie. Now, MGM, the studio that he made it with, they wanted a sequel. So they came out to this agreement where if Bob made Porky's 2, he received $2 million to create his passion project, A Christmas Story. Now, of course, $2 million does sound like a lot of money, but when you think about it, by the time you pay all those actors and directors, and you're traveling, going on location, building sets, renting props and costumes, it's really not a lot of money to work with, so this is actually considered to be a bit of a low-budget film. But regardless, they had the funding and they were ready to go. So from there, they went on to casting. They cast Darren McGavin as the old man, who was a character actor known from many Western films, episodes of Alfred Hitchcock Presents, and he was also the star of Kolchak Night Stalker on television in the 1970s. Melinda Dillon was cast as the mother, and she's a two-time Academy Award nominated actress. Her first nomination was for her role as the mother in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. She can also be recognized as the mother from Harry and the Hendersons as well. Oh. Peter Billingsley is cast as Ralphie, and this is his first major breakthrough role in a film. But his main claim to fame beforehand was Messy Martin from the Hershey syrup ads that had ran on television in the early 1980s. And lastly, Ian Petrella was cast as Randy. Now, this is his first breakthrough role in a film, he went to an audition with 300 little boys, and at his audition, he did the "Show Mommy How the Piggies Eat" scene, just the way he did it in the movie. So he auditioned by smashing his face into a plate of mashed potatoes. The directors thought he was super cute, and that is how he ended up getting the role. So once casting was completed, the next step was to find a location to film. And the initial idea was to film the movie in Hammond, where Jean Shepherd grew up and where these stories sort of loosely took place. Well, it wasn't really going to work out because Hammond had changed a lot over time, and Jean Shepherd was not the biggest fan of his hometown, and he didn't want to have to return there and face all of his old friends there. So they had to find a whole new location to film, and they started by looking for a department store that was willing to let them film inside after hours, build a 30-foot snow mountain with a slide for Santa to sit on top of, and they had to keep all their Christmas decorations up into March. So of course, more stores would say that's crazy, we're not gonna do it, it's gonna hurt business. Meanwhile, there was a store here in Cleveland, Ohio called Piggies. And they're right downtown on Public Square. They were actually very interested in having the film made here in town. So they contacted the producers, they went and checked out the store, and they loved the space, they loved that it still looked old-fashioned, and that they could use the square on the outside. So they accepted, and they went ahead and filmed the department store scenes inside Piggies. So that is when Ralphie's visiting Santa Claus, the opening scene with the shoppers on the square, all that is done right downtown. Door or a bumpus dog inside is all filmed right here in this house. All the exterior scenes were filmed here, so Ralphie does shoot his eye out right in the backyard, and the old man does get harassed by the bumpus hounds outside, and Ralphie and Randy walk to and from school right down the street right here. Now up in Toronto, Canada, like I had mentioned, there was a sound stage, so that is where the majority of the inside shots were filmed, as well as the Christmas tree lot scene, the infamous O Fudge tire changing scene, and Chop Suey Palace, the Chinese restaurant at the end. And the third filming location was St. Catharines, Ontario, and that is where they filmed at the Victoria School. So that was inside Miss Shield's classroom, the playground, and of course everyone's favorite, the triple dog dare, tongue stuck to the flagpole scene was filmed there as well. Extra money, they were selling packages of movies. A Christmas Story happened to be in one of those packages. It ended up going to Warner Brothers, who then decided to show it on TV on their Turner-owned cable channels. By 1997, they were showing it for 24 hours, Christmas Eve into Christmas Day, which I'm sure we all watch every single year. Brian Jones had actually started his own business building and selling leg lamps. He was a huge fan of the film and started that business. And in 2004, he found this house for sale on eBay, of all places. So he went ahead and he purchased the home. Took about 2 years to repair and renovate it to get it as movie accurate as possible inside and out. Front door opened to the public for the first time ever in 2006, and we have been here ever since. This past year, we saw about 100,000 people from all over the country, some from all over the world, and we hope to see even more.
Oh, that's great.
It's done. Do it again.
I don't want to go upstairs. Is there anything in it?
Oh, there's some stuff. No bread. Oh, that turkey does look gross. We can touch it too. We can touch it.
Do you want it though?
Ew. Delicious. Yum. Ew. Somebody would too. We all need it though.
No eggs? No milk?
You gonna sit?
I'll sit.
Go ahead.
Hey! Don't shove it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys,
What?
Pick it up. Yeah.
Wait, can you take the picture?
Yeah.
He's the worst.
She's in the hallway when.
That's the
lock. The turkey.
Oh, wow. Too bad this doesn't like hang off the thing like it did in the movie, remember?